On the line, ladies and gentlemen, I have LaPone. What up, dude?
What's happening, homie?
Tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up, man. I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia. I grew up in the rural. I grew up in the country, man. My Spanish mother. My mother's from Panama. My father was originally from Washington D.C. He was a criminal. He was a criminal, but he tried to be a family man too. And let's say I big domestic violence situation. Moved to Florida when I was about 11. And then out to Cali when I was about 12. So, I mean, life just been full speed, Dusty.
Okay. So you started in Charlottesville, and you moved out at 12. All right, let's talk about your time there, man, in Charlottesville. What was your upbringing like?
Upbringing was pretty, like I said, man, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of, I had a brother and a sister, and I mean, it was just something all the time, and seeing my parents fight and trying to distinguish love, trying to distinguish love and get that family feeling, and but the whole time being brought up in a broken home, that shit really had a effect on my life. Seeing how things were supposed to be, and not knowing how they are supposed to be. I guess. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, when I watch your channel, I hear a lot of the stories on there, man. And I mean, I swear I feel like family when I'm listening to them dudes. I grew up, Nellis raised me. I'm like Mobile said, I was a homie from Waterfront. I watched his interview. Nellis raised a lot of us, man. We were kids when we got there,
Yeah.
And it kind of molded me myself. Charlottesville, I had a lot of rage leaving there. Like I said, my mama picked up and ran through the shelter system. Shout out to the shelter system for domestic women. And I ended up in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and then finally touched down in Hollywood, and then finally Lancaster. So that was my journey. And
okay.
Yeah, out in Lancaster is where we actually went crazy, man. We went crazy out there.
Before you moved to California, were you already hip to Crips and Bloods and things like that out there in Virginia?
Well, my first taste of any Crips and Bloods was Colors, man. Watching the movie, and that came out in like '88, and I was still playing with toys then, man. And I remember. I swear, I remember like yesterday grabbing my red G.I. Joe, man. Everything was red on him, my blue, and in the room sitting there playing, Crips Against Bloods. She was crazy, man. I never thought I'd experience it. But like I said, I left Virginia and went to Florida, and then that was the first touch. Went to Miramar, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and that was my touch into gangs. They had Zulu Nation. And my neighborhood was full of Zulu Nation, where I lived at, and I didn't know it at the time. So they tried to get me down with them. I hung out with them, but no, it wasn't no dedication or nothing. Just some good dudes that we left out of school, walking away from school together and all that.
Okay.
But that was not my thing. What they were into.
Okay.
But yeah, then I moved out to Cali, man, and got introduced to the homies, moved in the neighborhood, and Lil Rob Deuce, rest in peace, that was my road dog. And me and him just went on a crime spree, boredom, man. Boredom. You know what kids do.
Yeah, idle hands.
But yeah. But that still, man, I met a guy from at the time he was from A. Trey Hoover. His name was Ray Vaughn, and like I said, everybody back then. I mean, it was gang banging, but out in the valley, like you just took to who was like you, so Crips or Blood or whatever. You took to who was in that same circle as you, and he was in there doing shit and getting at girls and gang banging, and we just all flocked together, man. And we ended up on a crime spree, like 32 carjackings and this and that, and through them crooked courts down there, and I ended up wearing them all, man. I think I only did like 3 of them, but I ended up wearing them all.
Man.
And that got me sentenced to 14 to life, 14 plus life in California Youth Authority. I never been in jail, never been incarcerated. Had been arrested before, but I had never been in that type of trouble before.
Mm.
They introduced me into the California system, and since then, man, it just been full speed ahead, man. Unfortunately, I touched down in Seymour Juvenile Hall. Now, I'm gonna give you my first experience.
Yeah.
It's some comedy. It's some comedy with this, man. Because now that I look back on, I'm 43 years old now, and now, but I look back on it, man, it was a life changing experience, and I'm sure everybody that gives the interview can say the same thing. But it molded me, man. It molded me in some good ways, and it molded me in some bad ways. But I first touched down on Seymour, and this was 1992. Okay, now my homies is telling me, we in the same tank. They said, look, don't tell them you gang bang. They will try to put this on you and this and that. So when I first got down to the police station, they started showing me pictures of the homies and me giving up the bees and all that. So I tell them, man, I don't bang. That ain't me. That me. I'm just denying it altogether. So of course they sent me to Seymour. And L&M, the first guy I run into, they have on L&M, they had a Crip side and a Blood side. Well, because I had said I don't gang bang, they put me on the Crip side, So the first dude I run into was from Harlem, big guy named Choo Choo from Harlem 30. Shout out to Choo Choo. I hope he's still alive. So he hits me up, man. I tell him, I said, I don't gang bang, man. I don't gang bang. So that goes, whole day goes through or whatever. I get in there at nighttime. They lock down. And of course, everybody know about the who banging and the dissing and all that. I mean, it's kind of quiet in juvenile hall. I heard somebody say, the difference between juvenile hall and CYA. Well, it's kind of quiet, but on L&M, they wide open. So when the door's locked, they banging and they dissing and they. So I get tired, I get tired of dissing the beat, man. And I start going off. So at that time, start dissing the C or whatever. And at that time, the police come, COs come unlock the door. They say, man, you a blood, what you doing on this side? They look at the record, say, you don't gang bang. So anyhow, that put me back on the M side over there with the dog. So that's how my first experience. I mean, this all happened within like 8 hours of being, arrested and brought to juvenile hall. I was running with the different lanes, man. I was running with the DL since about 90. Okay. I moved out to Cali in 90. Yeah, like the end of 90, man. And I had a good run, about 2 years with the homies, man. Then they locked me up. 92 was a crazy year, man. That's why I really wanted to do this podcast. Because so much happened in that era, so much happened. But and then anyhow, they put me on TV in Seymour, and TV it was wide open. I was a young guy, so my first experience with, of course, Lil Rob, my homeboy, put him on the other side. I'm on one side and he's on the other.
That's your crime partner, right?
So I guess yeah, that's my crime partner. BL00D, rest in peace to this day. But we ended up, doing what youngsters do, and I never heard that many different ways of dissing my hood, man. But mothers, cats in there, they would say little stupid shit, to anything with a DNL to the diss, and so that right there, that had me fighting all the time. I ain't lose too many fights at all in TV. I mean, I was one of the biggest guys on there. I was always tall for my age, so looked at. I was always looked at as the G homie, always, even out on the streets. But I ended up in a ride there, in a small ride. It was like, I guess, about 10 guys, 5 Bloods, 4 Crips, something like that, 5 Crips. And we dusted them off, man. My homeboy, Little Green Dog, was there for my neighborhood. And that right there sent me to AB. So when I ended up going to AB put me with guys that were a little bit older than me. At the time, I just turned 14, and that was up there. They was like 15 and 16-year-olds and this and that. But I never had no situations at AB. When I got up there, I got on the B side. Of course, AB stood for, back then they said it stood for all blood. So I got on there with Smiley from BSP, Bullet from Bounty Hunters, a lot of riders, man, lot of down dudes. When I got to Seymour, I probably, honest to God, I probably, man, been with a girl about two times. Went all the way one time. You feel me? So I was on some green shit. Well, I ended up getting in real good with this one of the YCs there, and I don't want to say his name, but he was a Mexican guy, and he had me and him had a real good relationship. So they opened the pool at Seymour. And man, I ended up being his lifeguard. He made me his lifeguard. So, that right there introduced me into a whole new world of flirting and mixing with the Mexican girls. And, like one of my homegirls came on there, and, so. But anyhow, after about 2 weeks of that, every day going to the pool, just helping him monitor. I swim like a fish, man. But just helping him monitor the pool, man, I ended up messing with like 3-4 different girls. And plus my homegirl, and they kicked me out of that, man, got me a hell of a charge. Next thing I know, I was on my way to SRCC.
Damn.
So they rushed me through that whole process. And man, when I hit SRCC, it was like, juvenile hall was a playpen. When I hit SRCC, it was a whole new world. Like this, the cats there, they were facing their time, they had their time, and they was going to do their time. So first guy I run into was the worst enemy. 11 Deuce Broadway, guy named Indian. Hair down to his back, man. I mean, there wasn't too many guys running around SRCC. You had the afros and all that shit, but this guy had a ponytail down to his back, and I'm like, how is he getting away with this up in here? Because, they try to rush me to get a haircut every time I let my shit grow. So, yeah, we get up into it in the medical, and come a big beat, back and forth beefing thing. But mind you, when I got on SRCC, my neighborhood had a lot of respect because the biggest guy on the compound, biggest guy on the whole compound was named Black Blood from Pasadena, Devil Lane, and that's a clique of ours. And I'm sure everybody in that era knew of him. But I mean, you didn't want to. You didn't want to. Ain't nobody want to step to him. So I mean, it's like you deal with it. You mess with his homies, you got a problem with him. So we had a lot of respect on there. But shit still happens.
SRCC is in Norwalk, right?
Yeah, SRCC in Norwalk.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe it. I mean, from Seymour going into Norwalk, I thought I was like, oh, this place is cool. It's gonna be in a it's in a neighborhood. It can't be all that bad, but shit. Was I fool? It was wide open, man. Everybody was trying to get their name trying to get them a name before they went to where they was gonna do their time anyway. So I worked kitchen patrol at the time, and when you first get on there, they put you on KP, and I had known so many guys from TV and AB, in a juvenile hall. One particular guy that we was cool, guy named Winley from Park Village, Compton Crib. I forgot what they called him, but me and him grew tight, man, because I liked his swag. He was a young cat, but he was a gangster. I mean, everything about him, his look, the way he walked, he was a gangster, man. So me and him was, we got along real good. I mean, we even got along to the point in Seymour, we was playing a dissing game. I mean, that's how shit was when
What's
people.
That? Oh, when you just battle each other.
Yeah. It was dissing. I mean, we wouldn't diss no dead homies, man. But it got to the point of comfortability, man, where we would play the hood thing, and I mean, it was all just doing time. But so I'm wiping off the kitchen tables. I'm doing the KP thing. And I see Winley at the table. So apparently he just came in from receiving. I mean, he just got there. So, and he's on Truman. And at the time, I'm on Cabrillo now. I done moved from Pico to Cabrillo. So, one of his homies, man, I know he put him up to it, Mexican guy. But as soon as I get to his table, he like, fuck Denver Lane, And I mean, like I said, everybody trying to get that name. So I takes off on him, man. The chow hall is full. I takes off on him. Now, Dusty, going back before I tell you this story, there was an officer on Cabrillo, and I'm sure everybody know him, Cartwright. But he was telling me, he said, "Don't y'all never fight on my shift. I hate paperwork." You know, that was his thing. I hate paperwork. Don't never fight on my shift. If you're gonna regret it. So man, I'm telling you, I was there with Mobile, I was there with G Roo from Waterfront, G Roo from Skyline. It was a whole lot of riders, Twin from Waterfront, and nobody fought on the shift, man. I mean, it was just like, don't fight on this man's shift, you know. And why did I fight on this shift? I mean, I just took off and fought on this shift.
Damn.
So anyhow, man, yeah, and I mean, the dude was sitting down when he dissed the hood. He should have jumped up, but he didn't, and I just took off on him, so I got the upper hand all the way around. I ended up being taken back to my whole unit was still in the chow hall at the time, man. I ended up getting Cartwright snatched me up, took me back to my cell, put the handcuffs on me, man, smashed my head in the concrete. It was some bullshit that a child went through. I mean, I look back on it now, like I'm 43 years old. I look back on it now, man, I say, you know, ain't too much good come out of that, but it molded me into who I am. It hit my head down the concrete, pull the handcuffs up, behind me. Yeah, he really ran the number on me, man.
Damn.
So at that point there, I was like all in. You know, I really, my mother, she was that's all I had was my mother. She was in California. She ended up moving after about a year. She moved to Mississippi and found a boyfriend. So I was there by myself. And I went all in, man. I said, I'm gonna take this all the way. All I had was my neighborhood, you know, my homies. That's all I had. So after that incident there, man, they end up. And I'm gonna tell you about another incident at SRCC. I had known nothing about Inland Empire. All right, I mean, you from LA.
Yep.
You don't know a lot about the surrounding neighborhood. So I'm outside, you know, me and Twin from Waterfront, we sitting at the table, we politicking, and I get up with the basketball and just start throwing it at the side of the building, you know, just running our mouth. And I'm hitting the guy window. So guy yells out the window, he says, "Fuck your dead homies, you throw that ball at my window again. It's Inland Empire," you know. And so, man, I went off. I'm like, F Inland Empire, nigga, this Denver Lane, you know. Not seeing who this, you know, this window worn. This is what they do there. So I'm not seeing who I'm talking to or nothing, man. I'm just, you know, gang banging back. At that time, they later on that night, they doing showers. I'm coming from the showers, get dope fiend on by essay man from Inland Empire. You know, we end up fighting. Like I said, I ain't fall. He got one hit, and then they came out with the pepper spray because it was past Mace then. That's when they introduced that pepper spray, and that was my first experience of being pepper sprayed, man. And plus being mad, man, because I could never get revenge on this cat. He ended up going to the hole, and then they sent him to, you know, he went to wherever he went to. But me, after that, I ain't go to the hole. I end up at Nellis. So, but I always wanted him, man, and I found out that Inland Empire was not his gang, but you know, the whole damn San Bernardino. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, what was this? You know, so that's why, like, man, we had it with them, but shit died down, and it never went no further than that, and that was the end of that. So I pulls up at Nellis, man, and like I said, I'm trying to get this reputation. You know, my first experience sitting there, young dummy, man. I put my hood and my name on the table. You know, everybody do that at Truman. I think it's Truman. So once I do that, man, within 2 days I get a charge. Have to see Newman and all that. You know, David Newman. And I never understood his purpose there. I don't know what he was doing there, but as far as gang coordinating, you know, I like I say, I understand his purpose, man. But yeah, that charge ended up having me labeled as somebody who wanted to start a bunch of shit and all this and that. But I didn't, man. You know, I came on there to do my time. I just wasn't gonna take no bullshit. So end up getting sent to Adams, and at that time, Adams was like a bunch of guys said, it was older guys, Pookie from Grape, Cash Jones from East Coast, a lot of older dudes, ran from East Coast, and my homie Rob, yeah, he go ahead.
No, I said I've heard a few of those names.
Yeah, you were there in the era that I was there, I believe. That's 92, right? 92 to 96?
No, I wasn't locked up, but I've had several people on my show who were locked up around that time. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Frank Lewis, the YA baby, who
oh yeah, that's my dog. He was there.
Yeah.
Frank was there. Wack from 100, Wack 100, he was there, and I always known Wack 100 is CK Wack. I mean, he got a lot of damage on his name right now, but I mean, as far as I know him, he always been a.
Can you give us an idea of what Wack was like back then?
Man, Wack was a rider. I can't throw no dirt on his name at all. I mean, I hate what he going through now and all these cats turning on him, but Wack was a rider. He deal with who he want to deal with, and back then, unfortunately, he dealt with a lot of Crips. But man, if the dogs ever had problems, he was with us. I mean, like I said, he was on at the time he was on Roosevelt, and my little homie Boom was on there. I heard Mobile mention Boom name. Little Boom from Squiggly Lanes. That was my little homie, and yeah, Cash, Cash ain't letting nothing happen to him. I mean, he was a little short dude, man, a little small dude, and he ran his mouth a lot. He would diss cats a lot, and he never had problems, man. The cats never had his back over there, and Wack was one of them. I also had another when I first met Wack. I think we was back in. I never been to LP, so this was Central, and I met him in Central. Me and B-Red from my Inglewood family, and we had coming out to schools, man, with a bunch of Hoovers. They ran up on us, and he was right there, with that. So I can't put no dirt on the man's name. He always been a rider in my book. Always said Pyru. The way he said now, he always said that since a youngster. But like I said, man, people got to remember he's from Pacoima. He's a Valley cat, so you can't expect the same thing from a Valley cat from LA cat, It's just the way he was. I mean, they don't have the amount of enemies we got. They don't get around like we get, Okay. So, yeah, he always been a dog. But anyhow, man, when I got on Nellis was a hell of an experience. Nellis, for me, Nellis wasn't, and even though it was crazy back then, Nellis for me it wasn't hard. It was like a fucking play. It was playtime. I got into it with so many guys. I got a hustle going on. I met a lot of guys that I see Crips and Bloods that I see today as family. I still stay in contact with a lot of them, and I end up doing 4 years and 8 months there. So I mean that's how the bond grew. If you did get into it with somebody, man, and then that shit continued for 4 years, then either you the bust and was hiding out. Or I mean, cause men squash stuff, men squash stuff. That's just the way it was. When I got on Nellis, I was a Rudy Poop. When I left, I was a G. I mean, far as number wise. When I got on there, it was 5'4s and 5'2s. And then when I left, man, it was like 7 something, and I was 6'4. So they looked at me like, yeah, this cat a G now,
What's the 5'2" and a 5'4"?
That's the beginning of your YA number. Like mine was a 64770, and I think Harold Thomas Pookie was like a 5'7", something like that, 5'8". So they've been there before you, And when I got to Adams Cottage, one of my homeboys had just left. He was from Pasadena, Denver Lane, and his name was Slep Rock. So he had established a bunch of respect over there, man. So it was like 15 of us on the whole compound. And when I say Denver Lane, I'm saying the Pasadenas too. So I ended up, man, it was crazy because a guy I once tried to carjack gave me a job working in the laundry there. And he knew me and we laughed about it and he gave me a job. And I always grew up working, man. Like I said, Charlottesville, Virginia gave me that work ethic, and my father gave me that work ethic. So I love working. You know, I hated going to school and just coming around, sitting around the dorm. I had to be doing something because idle time, you know, is
Yeah.
terrible for a youngster's mind. So every day I'm doing the laundry. And I ended up being probably out of, I guess, on Nellis, it was like 1,200 dudes. Out of all the 1,200, would me and another guy had access to new clothes, you know, new blues, new jeans and stuff like that. So, man, we started stealing them and selling them to the main line. I'm talking about, shoot, I had more paper in my pocket on Nellis than I had on the street, man. Honest to
Nice.
God. I mean, it was selling like pants for $25 and shirts for $5, $6, whatever. But I had a cool relationship with a CO there, and with that money, man, that's when I would get my pizza. You know, you can give it to him, get pizza, get cigarettes, just do little stuff like that. You know, that we didn't have access to. You know, we didn't have access. But when I say it molded me, man, California, you know, these are COs that I'm naming. California, Ron Jones, Bo J. They really, you know, I looked it up to them guys. I respected the way that they treated us as men. Now that I'm older, I understand it, you know. But they really tried to guide us the right way when the whole environment sent us the wrong way, you know. 92, 93, they had something that happened at Nellis when they brought the Norteños in. All right. That had never happened in the system as far as I understood. I don't know about the penitentiary system, but as far as the CYA system, they had never mixed the Norteños with Sureños.
Oh, okay.
And they brought a busload of them down to Nellis, and man, that shit was pure havoc. And I hear the stories on you know, on your interviews, and it was, you know, it was crazy. But shout out to Spooky, man, Spooky from Salinas. You know, he came down, and I think Spooky ended up going to Washington first, and then he came to Adams. Well, when he came to Adams, it was we had some guys from Adams with a lot of respect. I don't want to say they were shot callers for the whole Nellis, but you had some guys. I want to say his name was Bandit from Compton, from Compton Barrio 155. All right, his name might not have been Bandit, but he's from 155. So he had a lot of respect, and he didn't want to see him come over there. But in time, everybody ended up getting along in time. But Spooky ended up coming to my rifle, man. You know, he came. I seen how he was about that red, and I mean, he was strong on that red. So I mean, that right there, that of course that was appealing to me. He carried that flag like I do. You know, I mean, I known Sureños. I know a bunch of Sureños, man, but they never repped that blue like Crips. You know, but Spooky repped that red like a blood, you know. So we took him into the run fly, man, and he was my dog. Yes, he was my dog. And he was a fighting cat. You know, the cats that they brought from north, man. It was something about them, Dusty. It was something about them cats, but they had swabbles on them. Man, yeah, that's what it was like. It's like, you know, but they knew how to fight. I mean, they wasn't like, you know, regular SA fight with their head down and this and that and take a bunch of punches. These ones were fighting with their head up. They throwing punches. They connecting, you know, and they talking shit. And Spooky, well, you know, he was a soldier. But we had a couple of incidents on Adams where the COs would actually let us get down behind the handball court, you know, and we was always there with Spooky, man. He would never get jumped or nothing. I mean, he got jumped a couple of times, but not on Adams. You know, everything is one-on-one. Respect-wise, you know, the G's of the cottage, one-on-one. Everything one-on-one.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess he stayed over there for maybe about 4 months, if that, and then they end up locking him up somewhere, you know, sending Nixon and all that. Bunch of stuff happened that we youngsters shouldn't have it shouldn't have been exposed to, man. But it, it's the lifestyle we was living.
Yeah.
I ain't like I said, I work laundry every single day, man. On the weekends and everything. I got good at it, so that's what I did. I had it. Yes, over the period of 4 years and 8 months, I had about three enemies, three worst enemies that came up there, and I had connections, man. Where that's why I would handle my business. I get them in the back of the laundry truck, beat the brakes off of them, start working commissary for a little while, catch them at the commissary. That was crazy, man. It was a rider school. It was definitely a rider school.
Gladiator, huh?
Yeah. I had a goddamn good friend of mine, man. I think he locked up to this day, but Blue from Block Crip. We started making music. And I've been rapping, man. I've been rapping since like 91, but me and him started making music. We call ourselves Kick Your Ass Productions, KYAP. But we'd be in Adams in the room. One of the CEOs brought in the boom box. We could record stuff, man. We was really getting it in. I mean, and that brought a lot of the tension down, because if there was any tension, at the end of the night, man, it'd be gone, man. We have a session outside on the rec yard. We start beating on the windows. Couple cats come freestyling. Everybody cool. We had plenty. We had plenty of weed on Adams, man. That was our thing, man. Just weed, run fly, and try to keep the peace. A lot of the other units, they wasn't on it what we were on over there. I mean, they really wasn't. There was a lot of rules. Far as Mexicans don't eat after blacks, I'm sure you know about all that. But that didn't go on Adams. We had Ronflas mixed over there. So it was a whole different experience being on Adams Cottage in Nellis. During this era, during this era, man, it was bad as hell. It was bad. A lot of stuff was happening. I seen cats get stabbed over that Norteño, Sereno stuff, but it never, really made it to the cottage. You feel what I'm saying? So we kind of kept the respect and the heat down with that over there.
So CYA, you get there, and what you said you did 14 years. Did you have to do the whole 14?
No, I did 4 years and 8 months.
Oh, 4 years and 8 months. Damn. Okay, 4 years and 8 months.
Yeah, I did. And I was actually only supposed to do 4 years, man. But I got to the end of my sentence. And they sent me from Adams to Tyler. So at Tyler, I started doing the marching bullshit. I kind of liked that, and I ended up becoming company commander. And when you become company commander, you get a lot of pull, a lot of juice. I mean, I could put one of them things around my neck, I don't know what it was, but it gave you free movement. So they let me take my business to a whole nother level. But I don't know if you knew about, but guys on Nellis, you could get that. It's some type of ribbon around your neck, and man, you could walk from cottage to cottage.
Okay.
And I would walk by the laundry. Yeah, I would walk by the laundry, visit with the guy that ran it, Glenn, and at the same time, I'd grab a couple of new pair of pants, then I'd walk them over to Kennedy and sell them, then I'd make my way to the commissary, then I'd go back to Tyler. But so it was one new CEO, and everybody, used to try to YC. They call them YCs back then, but everybody used to try to get at this woman, man, and I don't know why, because she was skinny as hell. I mean, like, I could break her between my two fingers, but she was skinny as hell. So I would always play that role like, for some reason, man, like I said, I was always a ladies' man on the street, even though I didn't. I was, big flirt on the street, but I ain't get a lot of booty. You feel what I'm saying? But so when I come to YA, every woman I've seen, man, I thought I was a pimp, so I'd play it like it. And so she didn't like the fact that I never gave her the time, man. So one time, she come down during camp, and yeah, she hit me with a level B charge, man, said that I was doing some bullshit at the door, which I wasn't doing, which I never had been known for. But she said, I had my thing out at the door when she came through the camp. So they ended up giving me like 8 more months time at. And how the hell I was able to explain it? Yeah, I couldn't even explain it to my mama, man. You know, so it is what it is. I ended up doing it 6 months, 8 months, and that's what put me out a little extra. I was supposed to get out in 4 years, man. They gave me 8 month time. Man. Every time I went to the board, my victim was there, carjacking. So it was hard as hell to get out. And then, like I said, my mother moved to Mississippi, and being that I had an out of state release, it was like, all right, so if we let you go, we ain't got to worry about you here no more. Because they didn't want me to go back to LA. They didn't want me to go back to everywhere I committed my crimes. They didn't want me to go back. So I said, well, yeah, you know, I'm going to Mississippi, man. So that was it. They granted parole, man. Like a week later, my ass was on an airplane going to Mississippi.
Yeah. So you sent me an article, and it said that you were facing 2 life sentences. Can you talk about
2 life sentences?
Yeah. Can you talk about what happened that led the events that led up to that?
Yeah, man. When I ended up going down in Charlotte, I left CYA, ended up Mississippi about a year and a half, which I loved it down there. But all of my family, a lot of my family are from Charlottesville. So of course, man, you always go home. My brother was back in same mother, same father. He was in Charlottesville. I hadn't seen him in 5, 6 years. I wanted to see my family. So I made a trip from Mississippi to Charlottesville, and this was in into 97. I got out in 96. I got out in Nellis in April of 96. And I think I went up there about February 97. Man, everything was different. Everything, I wore khakis, I wore stars, I wore Cortez. That's all I wore. You know, everything about me was different. I had that walk. It's like I was stereotyped as soon as I hit that city. I moved into with one of my cousins, man, kind of rough neighborhood out there, and started getting into a little bit of dope slanging or whatnot. But anyhow, one of these guys that I took up under my wing, he ended up, you know, he was selling dope with me and everything. He was actually my stick man, but he ended up getting hooked on the product and doing a bunch of robberies. So he did this one robbery, and he implicated me in it. Even though I had a alibi and everything, man, they came arrested me and dated a girl at University of Virginia at the time. I had moved into her dorm room with her. They bust up in there, man. They arrest me. They arrest her, all on his fabricated story. I thought my life was gone, Chief. I hadn't gotten any trouble since Nellis. I mean, I was still doing bullshit, but I hadn't been arrested. I was trying to do, Dusty, I was trying to do good, man. I'm sure a whole lot of the fam out of Nellis and the rest of the youth authority, when they put that, my particular charge when like I said, was carjacking. When I got to Nellis, carjacking, when I was convicted, carjacking was not an offense. Okay, it was kidnapping on robbery. There was no such thing as carjacking. I think we were the last trio to actually, before they came up. So that's where the life sentence and all that came from. They gave it was adjudication, and I didn't know, man, until I was like 37 years old that adjudication is like an adult charge. You know, you can't take it off your record. So that shit been following me. Nellis has been following me for 44 years, you know, because of adjudication. I mean, yeah, every employer. I mean, I have employers now where I actually was on the job for a few years, get ready to get promoted, and then they do that background check, man, and that comes up. So what's this about? This California offense? And I'm like, what the hell is that in it? And you can't get it off, man. So something I did at 14, follow me. So anyhow, with this thing in Charlottesville, once they got to looking at that and they seen that charge from California, Oh man, and the fact that they really wasn't. They had known nothing about a Crip in the Blood. They had known nothing about that down there. And when they got wind of that, oh man, they put some articles up in the paper. How I was trying to start a gang, and I ain't never recruited nobody outside of my city. I've never went to none of these states and put nobody else on the neighborhood. I ain't, yeah, I put it like this: if you ain't from there, you shouldn't be hollering you from there. As far as neighborhood wise. But yeah, they twisted me up, man. They put me in jail 12 months down there in their jail, and no bond. And I fought my charge, man. I had 3 trials. The first one ended up hung jury. Second one a mistrial, and when I walked in, the third one was like 4 years later from them giving me the charge. They end up dismissing the charges. But mind you, Dusty, this still stays over my head. Because here in Virginia, when they charge you with a murder case and then they put null process on it, you can be an old ass man and they can bring it back if they find new evidence. So I'm working on trying to get a lawyer, man, get all this straight, because they did some crooked stuff back then. One of my good friends who was a witness a witness to say that, man, this man didn't have nothing to do with nothing. He ended up getting killed by the police, and nothing ended up becoming of this. It was a real high profile case. But yeah, it was all robbery, and innocent guy got killed or something like that. My name got put in the mix. So that's what that was all about, Dusty. But I wanted to show you, man, because it's just a mark, man, that stays on your record, man. And no matter what you try to do in life, man, that shit, can hold you down. After the murder case, I ended up moving to a different city, and I caught some charges, man. I ended up having to do out here in Virginia 7 years in the penitentiary system. Let me tell you, man, the penitentiary system out here is nothing like youth authority. Youth authority is CYA, California Correctional, was straight crazy. This shit out here is like daycare. It's daycare. Gangbangers. And I ain't gonna say too much on that, but the gangs out here, it ain't like it is back home. It's not. It's not like it is out west. It's not even. I'm like this, man. If you claim in Hoover, when you leave, are you going back to Hoover Street? Are you going to 11 Deuce, 107? Are you going to any 5 Deuce? Are you going to? If not, I wouldn't even be claiming that shit. Why die for something that, because eventually that's what's going to lead to death or in the jail or getting your ass beat up over nothing, But there's a lot of that out here. There's a lot of that out here. There's a lot of gay stuff out in the system out here. But it's willingly. It ain't no rapist shit, man. And yeah, man, I've known a lot of guys out here in Virginia, man, that was doing crazy stuff in the jail, man, and then get out, and they got families and all that. So, it opened up a whole new light, man, as far as the system, the system. But of course, when I'm jumping back and forth, but
you're good.
When I got to Nellis, man, my father did a bunch of time when I was a kid. So of course we seen movies, man. Growing up, I seen Penitentiary 1, Penitentiary 2, Penitentiary 3. I seen all the hard movies. I seen Alcatraz. I seen what prison was made to be. About the shanks, the rapes, and all that. So when I hit Nellis, when I hit Fillmore, I'm thinking, oh, this shit gonna be crazy. This shit gonna be raping. But I never seen none of that. And the whole time, my whole time being locked up, every dude that was into that gay stuff, they willingly gave up themselves. I had a homie on Nellis, and he was from PDL, and he was actually gay. I ain't gonna call his name, but I mean, he had some covers, man, and some stories about him, but for some damn reason, you know, everybody still accepted him from the hood, from PDL. So me being from DL, they accepting they homie from PDL. I'm accepting too, you know. And he was a rider. He was a knockout artist. Like, you couldn't beat him. So if you had something to say about him, man, you know, you got to keep it to yourself, because if you say it to him, you're gonna get ass whooping. You know. But and he was on the side of Nixon, the unit next to Nixon. Yeah, but anyhow, that's what that was for the. And you know, just going back and forth, man. Like I said, there was a guy on one of your podcasts, and he said he left there at 23, right?
Okay, yeah.
He left at Nellis at 23. Well, you know, I was on there with a guy, and there was a guy on there. He was 27 years old, and I don't know if y'all remember him, but this one of the famous stories from Nellis, man. Dude named Duvendak. Duvendak was in there for all types of child molestations, man. He was some type of school tutor or something. Like, I didn't deal with him. I just knew about him. But he got out at 27. And don't you know, he went back to the same person that put him in there and did that shit again. They locked him up again.
Wow, bro.
Yep.
He was 27 around like 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. He was 27 when he got out of Nellis, and he was on the unit next to Nixon. I can't remember the name of it.
That should be against the law. I mean, that's crazy, man.
I'm trying to tell you, man. But I was listening to one guy. He was like, he sat over Monroe till he was 23. Well, I mean, shit like that happened, man. You know, if they wanted to keep you, was all on your caseload. If they wanted to keep you there, they wasn't in no rush to ship you. You know, I was told I was going to be shipped like 2 years after being on Adams. They're like, yeah, we're going to ship you up north and this and that. I ain't never get shipped. I ended up doing my whole time there. Yeah, so it was a hell of an experience, man. It was a hell of an experience. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I met some good dudes on there, some good cats, man, and they gonna be family for life, man. And when I hear these interviews, it brings back a lot of memories. But I also be wanting because I know, you know, it get a lot of views, and I know youngsters, you know, want to know how stuff is and this and that. Don't listen to the interviews and think that shit is all sweet, because it ain't, man. It's not. And like I'm telling you, I had some good times on Nellis. Not really no rough times, but it was some good times on there. But there ain't nothing to brag about, because that shit, like I said, I mean, it's been a thumbprint on my whole record. Something happened when I was 14 years old, man, follows me up until now. And being that I'm in the state of Virginia now, it's like if I was to try to get my record expunged or something like that, you know how hard that is, how much money that take and all that. I ain't, you know.
Yeah, man.
I ain't, and as far as that stuff from Charlottesville, man, I Google my name in the computer and that pop up. You know, I mean, I made it my point to, when I came home from that, to put as much music as I could online, just so when you Google my name now, the music pops up. Yeah. You know, you have to search for that stuff. But yeah, I mean, so we in a whole different time now. You know, time ain't like it used to be. A lot of cats that didn't grow up in our era, they missing a lot. You know, when I say they missing a lot, we were loyal back then, man. We were loyal. We were 100. We were real. If you had a stick man, you know, and he say he had your back, he really wasn't gonna turn on you, man. You ain't have to think about him turning on you. But you know, it's a whole different ball game now, man. Cat'll be your partner today, and then tomorrow he be trying to rob your box. You know, he be trying to get you set up. Yeah, so
man.
I had one of the guys too. He was from Paramount, Mexican. He had a hard time on Nellis for a little while, being a Mexican from a Crip gang. But me and him became tight, man. He worked. You know, I got him a job in the laundry, and it was like I get the new clothes, and he would bring in the bud. You know, so that's why our connection and our relationship came from, man. He, you know, so we got cake together, we ate together, you know, and we kept the peace, you know. I ain't gonna say that I was no hell of a factor Nellis as far as, but I mean, on Adams, as far as like keeping the, as far as keeping the peace, I was. As far as keeping the peace, I was, man. I started, after about 2 years, I started looking at a lot of them cats as brothers, man, family, Mexicans and blacks, everybody I dealt with. It's been a whole different experience for me, because where I had came from, where I had grew up. So I really wasn't into, I'm colorblind. I was colorblind. My mother's Spanish, man. All my family is Spanish, in Florida, Spanish. I even know a little Spanish, so there's no way that I could just be riding on Serenos, because I fuck with them so hard, or Nathaniels. But a lot of the beef, man, we would kill it with humor. If you know what I'm saying, man, we would kill it with humor. Yeah. And that's how Adams was over there, man. We didn't let other stuff on other colleges, influences. I can't even remember the cat name, but I had a good friend that got me a job that worked working in Nellis in the kitchen, but in the staff dining hall. And the staff dining hall, man, that kind of I was a waiter down there. So you 14-year-old guy wearing white every day, being told, okay, we're gonna put you in the staff dining hall. We need you to try to be the best amongst the best as far as serving everybody. I served the superintendent. I served visitors. So, man, to this day, like I could go out there to one of these rich Beverly Hills restaurants, man, be top of the line server. But I got that from Nellis, man. As far as look, we're gonna put you in this position. We want you to do your best. That's what I'm saying. It molded me, man. It gave me a lot of good characteristics, and it gave me a lot of bullshit too. Bullshit too, man. I've seen a lot on Nellis. Yeah, man.
Damn, man.
It's been one heck of a ride.
I appreciate you. That hour flew by. Let's talk about your music, man. Tell everybody where they can find you and what's next with your music.
Oh yeah, man, y'all can check me out. Just Google LaPone Denver, Lap1 Denver, Lap1 Denver on YouTube. It's all over the web. I don't know where this music gonna go. I want it to touch the world. That's the type of music I write, man, to bring us all together. I'm past the bullshit. I reached out to Whack 100. Me and him talked on Instagram, and apparently the OG feel that it ain't time for OG music, but I think this is our time for the OG music. This time for Cube and all them to come back out. Scarface, this is time, because what we listening to ain't nothing but beats, man, and it's influencing this young society in a whole different way than what it need to. The music, man, music would change the world. A good song would change the world. Nice. So that's why it's my craft, and I love it, man. And I'm trying to find, I'm at it all the time. I got about 700 songs on there, and I'm trying to get that one song, man, that gets shared. It ain't gonna be no G song. I'm gonna tell you, I write R&B too, Dusty. It ain't gonna be no G song, but it's gonna be a song, man, that make you want to grab your kids and make you want to grab your wife or whatever, and just just do the day. Walk on the beach or a barbecue. It's gonna be something happy. Something with some love, something make you grab your homie, man. Y'all give them a pound, man. Y'all get a beer, just sit around and reminisce about some good shit. So that's what I'm on, man. I'm on a.
Love it, dog. Yeah. This is my shit right here. I gotta turn this up real quick.
I stay with them niggas.
I want everybody out there to go to YouTube right now. Type in LaPone. That's LaPone, LaPone, Denver, DENVA. This is personally my favorite tabletop, the Fred Nellis way. Dog, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you, dog.
All right, Dusty. Thank you, homie, man. I appreciate you, and shout out to all the homies that was in there, man.
Thank you,
Keep
bro.
it straight.
Talk to you soon, all right?
Yes, sir.
Peace, man.
All right, homie.
Yeah.
My murder status, dog, can't relate it. High cloud, 9 mile, we stay past faded. Damn.